I stood one day and really unbelievable, great business, doing millions of dollars, 25 employees, and said to myself, what is this for? And it was an existential question, right? What am I doing this for? In 10 years, no one will remember any of these things. And granted, we're doing fantastic work, but what is the purpose of that? And that led to pretty much a complete breakdown. The business dissolved, personal bankruptcy, addiction issues.
Hello, Dylan. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful, my man. And thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate
Absolutely.
you. Yeah, man. And you see, Dylan, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So firstly, Dylan, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, Dylan, you are on this platform right now because you did invest that in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, Dylan, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road. And just by the roadside, Dylan, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it. And the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it
Right.
and I went my way. But you see, Dylan, just recently I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did. And it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Dylan. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day, and I was so excited. Here is my point.
Amazing.
Yeah, man.
Amazing.
The
Amazing.
fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Dylan that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the
Oh,
request
thank you.
from me, yeah, to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Your philosophies, your
Yeah.
insight, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions, Dylan. These stuff's so beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, my man, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Dylan is doing.
Yeah.
And not only me now, because I don't want to be stingy, and even with the audience. And here we had a day with the amazing Dylan. So thank you so very much for doing that to yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, my man.
I'm happy to. No, I'm grateful that you saw some insight there, and I'm just honestly overjoyed to share things with you and whoever's listening. I think it's a really important time for us to share with each other and use our voices, right? It's something that I was told this past year is just use your voice, and it's really important that we all think lovingly and compassionately about what we want to communicate in every situation, and that we don't hold back from that. I think that's the way we learn, right?
Yeah, right. We don't hold back from that. Just use your voice. I got that. So let's get started, my man. You see, I am quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a chaotic situation to that of a beautiful one, Dylan, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge alone, but the application of it. And you see, my man, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Dylan on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, my man, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So this folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Dylan, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, my
Yeah.
man, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Dylan got here.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Dylan, over to you.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. Wow. So, 55, and I live currently with my family, one of our three kids in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. So we left the States about 5 years ago. The journey to get here, I think it's an interesting thing. I wouldn't change a minute of it. I look back and it's important, I think, to really evaluate, your past only for the lessons. So three kids, two of them are in their 20s, one's 16. So I'm deep in the teenage boy world.
Uh,
And I ran a business for 10 years, a branding and marketing business in North Carolina. And that's probably the beginning of what I call, maybe my awakenedness, right? Is when I stood one day and really unbelievable, great business. I'm doing millions of dollars, 25 employees, and said to myself, what is this for? And it was an existential question, right? What am I doing this for? In 10 years, no one will remember any of these things, all the awards that we've gotten. And granted, we're doing fantastic work, but what is the purpose of that? And that led to pretty much a complete breakdown. The business dissolved, personal bankruptcy, addiction issues, and and the rebound from that was long, but it was important. And the amount of healing involved was really incredible. It involved a lot of deep investigation, a lot of reading books, learning about meditation, learning about breathwork, learning about stillness, and the importance of just being still in this world of doing something that, and I did not come up with this, but I heard it years ago. We're not called human doings, right? We're called human beings for a reason. That importance of really just being still and learning how to deal with that quiet and really not just deal with it, but actually learn from it, right? And learn the power in that. But that led to really a lot of deep investigation. Read some really incredible books by Jen Sincero and Mel Robbins and Don Miguel Ruiz and Thich Nhat Hanh, who is just a beautiful, he passed last year, but a beautiful Vietnamese monk, incredible writings, and really led to me, really starting to discover who am I and what do I want to give to the world? That led to the development of a new company where I like to say we're doing all of the things better, right? I think it's a technology-based company. We host at a very high level, manage WordPress websites for our customers. But it's interesting, we're a technology business, but the core is, we say we're human first. And especially today with AI where it is, it's important that we understand the humanness that's involved in service. And so when people ask me about my company, I'm like, yeah, we do this really great thing. We have this great platform, but it's really about customer service. It's really about this core foundation of helping people realizing that the things that we do change their lives every day. And they do. Our customers love what we do. But that really enabled me to work from anywhere. We left the country, moved to Costa Rica for 2.5 years. A lot of deep healing work in Costa Rica, met some incredible people. And now we live in Mexico, and just really continuing that theme of personal investigation, of really continuing to build on this company. I've started writing a book, which is new this year, which has really been an incredible journey so far. I'm probably about halfway through, but it's all really a teaching environment.
Amazing, and that's so beautiful. You said something that is so, so profound. You said that evaluate your past only for the lessons in it. And that's really a deep one. And the fact that you knew that you're really not getting fulfillment in what you're doing, and you decided to, seek after knowledge. You mentioned the beautiful books that you were reading. And here we are today, the amazing Dylan. That's a great one. Yeah, let's talk about burnout. So, what caused your burnout as a founder?
Yeah, I think what caused it, it's interesting. It probably wasn't the company itself. I look back and I think, well, I know it was from unresolved trauma from my childhood. So I had what I would call a normal 70s childhood, right? What did that involve? That means both parents worked. They divorced when I was super young, and they did their best. I have no deep traumatic scars to say gratefully and thankfully that I was abused and all of these things. But the reality was I was left alone for most of my childhood. And I think that when I think back on that, I put myself in a position to be much older than I was, taking care of myself at a young age, and a latchkey kid, as thousands of kids are these days. But I think I grew up without ever resolving those things. And this is something that I talk to people a lot about. It's, things happen to us all the time, but it's letting them process through us and talking about them and letting go of them that's the important part. And it's as simple as that. The reality is there's no 12-step process to do these things. You can very easily do that, but you have to want to do it. I didn't have an awareness of that. So flash forward later in my life when I hit, my late 30s, early 40s, again, with that existential question of what am I doing here, compiled with not really knowing who I was, just led to that burnout. Drinking too much, coffee in the day, alcohol in the evening, not sleeping well, having kids, not knowing how to connect with your family. And all of that just led to really a complete burnout of really not knowing what to do.
Not knowing what to do. And I love the part where you mentioned unresolved trauma. I got that. So while you were talking about your wonderful company, you mentioned the humanness of it. So I wanted to ask, what does a human first system look like today?
Yeah, so it looks like, I guess maybe to contrast it, because I think a lot of people listening have this experience where they, whether it's their website or really any service that they purchase, right? We start to call companies. And the first thing that I know everyone hates is, right, we get into this call system, right? Where press 1 for this, press 2 for that. So we've already removed the human side of it, and it gets frustrating. For us, it's about, yes, we have automated things that help us work faster and smarter, but they never touch our customers, right? So when you call us, you call a number, someone answers the phone, literally. I mean, I know that that's a simple thing. There's no push to for support there. You get to talk to a human. When you email us, we've even chosen specifically a system that is pure email. So for you email us just like you would email Dylan. You email our support, a real person answers that. Doesn't even look like a ticketing system, right? And I think it's those small things that help someone kind of code switch from, oh, I'm dealing with essentially a bunch of systems and no one's ever going to take care of this, to they got me. And I think that's the important part I realized early on when I was working with even some really large providers. These guys are really great at what they do, but they're at such a high technical level that real people who are trying to talk with them, they need 2 or 3 intermediaries just to convert what is, hey, this is broken on my website, to it means this to that technical person. We don't have any of that. We essentially have removed all those steps, and you talk to someone who is just like me, who has experienced thousands of websites, and we may not know the answer right away, but we're really good listeners. And I think that's the important thing that a lot of companies miss is listening, and then critically thinking about, what is this person asking me? And then answering the question. I got to say, I learned this from Disney. I was a Walt Disney Imagineer for a year. And one of the things I love, Disney says you never answer a question with, no, I don't know that. Even if you don't know that, you don't say yes, but you say, you know what, I'll find that answer for you. And the importance of these are small things, but they really, I mean, can you imagine someone as a guest on property saying, can you tell me where to find that? No, it doesn't happen, right? I mean, that may be a new cast member and they may not know where to send you, but they're going to get right back in just a couple minutes with that answer. And the level of service that brings is really important. So we've adopted some of those same things. We get questions all the time. There are tens of thousands of plugins out there for WordPress, right? We can't know them all, but we're really good at listening and really good at finding the answer quickly. Yeah, so alignment is a big topic for me. So I think that for some people out there, they've heard of this flow state, right? So and something that I think about a lot of times in the world of alignment is in terms of resistance and acceptance, right? So as I am moving towards something that feels good, so for instance, your podcast, I was moving towards, being ready for this morning and excited. So that's alignment, right? I wasn't nervous about what I was going to say. I didn't have a bunch of notes. That's alignment. What's the opposite of that? It's moving from a sense of urgency and I need to do this for some reason. So I think that those two things go together really well, but a lot of times, and I know, listen, I experienced a good 40 years of moving out of urgency. I think that I'm supposed to do this thing, so I'm going to do it. And I need to fill whatever gaps that make me uncomfortable with distraction and things so that I can enable myself to do that thing. Sure, some of the times we get those things done and we do really well. But what works extremely well is moving towards alignment. So moving towards those things that, and alignment doesn't necessarily even mean things that only make us feel good, right? They're things that are aligned with our body, with our mind, with our systems, and that generally feel good. They may be hard to do, but it's tapping into that connectivity to it.
Feeling stretched thin. What is one mindset or system shift they can make today?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have to say this stuff comes back to rudimentary stuff. Is it honestly starting your day, and we hear this a lot now. So starting your day with some type of ritual, some type of process. For me, what that looks like is no phone till at least an hour. I mean, I've done a whole lot in my day before even opening a phone or computer. It's important. Bridging the gap between coming from the sleep mode into the world. So for me, it involves a few things. A short meditation. I know a lot of people are comfortable with a meditation and some aren't. It doesn't have to be a long time, 5 minutes. The idea is roll out of bed, 5 to 15 minutes of meditation. Body movement. I work through about a 15-minute, no weights or anything. It's a series of shaking body and waving arms, basically moving your body around. Then I move into a system of mantras. That could be prayer for someone, right? But essentially it's addressing a greater thing than myself, and speaking to it and having this conversation about what I want my day to look like, right? What I want, what I'm grateful for, and then what I look forward to. And that could be talking with God, talking with your angels, talking with the higher power, whatever that means. It could be simply talking to yourself out loud. But those three pieces, and then if you want, take a walk. But to me, starting with those, because I think when you talk about burnout, when you talk about it's not, and I've said this before, it's less about what can you do, it's more about what can you not do. Giving yourself in that leadership role with all the stresses and payables and receivables and sales and marketing, all those things, giving yourself a few moments every day to be still and listen to what your body is telling you is worth more than any course out there than that you'll find.
So true, and that's very important. So finally, my man, for folks who would like to reach out to you, learn more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, and your book, has it been published already or not yet?
Hasn't been published yet. My goal is to finish by the end of the year. For more information on my company, you can go to sunnyhq.io. And for anybody listening to the podcast, we actually, if you're really looking for some help with your website, you can go to sunnyhq.io/podcast. And we've just got a nice free PDF that you can download that will give you some tips and tricks. If you want more information on me, you can Google my name. There's not a lot of Dylan Clayton Bost out there, but it's also dylanclaytonbost.com. And I've got a little bit more information on me, and that's where a lot of the information on the book will be as well.
Beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, my man. Thank you for coming. And thank you for sharing this beautiful stuff with us. It means a whole lot, man. Thank you.
Thank you too. And keep doing what you're doing. I love it.